Universal's latest remake of one of their monster movie classics, Wolfman, is currently in theaters as I say this. It'll be on streaming forever. And this is directed by Leigh Whannell, who did the previous successful, I thought rather successful, remake of a classic Universal film. Also, an adaptation of an old H.G. Wells novel, The Invisible Man. And he also directed Upgrade, which was a super fun, action sci-fi kind of movie. This stars Julia Garner and Christopher Abbott. And this is about a guy turns into a wolf. It's kind of all there in the title. It's not really a surprise. Wolf, man, wolf. There it is. Basically, the story overall goes a little something like this: urban family, father, wife, child. Father is a stay-at-home guy who's a writer, but he's between jobs, so he's stay-at-home dad. Daughter is cute, precocious. Mom is a journalist, very busy, very career-focused. Guy gets word that his father has been declared officially dead. They grew up somewhere in the mountains. The film opens with a little precursor sequence, so you see the kid and his father when they were younger. You get that family dynamic. They were never close. They go back to do whatever they have to do within the old family homestead, and they find out, what do you know? This isn't really a spoiler. It's set up at the beginning of the movie. What do you know? There's a werewolf out there. Unfortunately, the family tangles with this werewolf. Dad gets scratched, and the rest of the film is he going to turn? What's he going to turn into? Is he going to turn on his family? What's going to happen? Who will survive and what will be left of them? So I was not really that interested in this. I like monster movies. I like horror movies. I really enjoyed that last Invisible Man. I thought it was so wildly different from what we'd seen before as an Invisible Man. I was ready to see that with a Wolfman movie. And that I would say that does this, but it also was kind of boring for me. I'll tell you what I thought. It was fairly well shot for the most part, though it did have sequences that are sadly atypical of modern cinematography, where they want to convey that it's dark, so you just can't see what's going on. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of, I don't have to experience what the character is experiencing to understand the character is experiencing it. I can have somebody have a flashlight and have the frame be relatively well lit and see what there is and understand that it's dark out. So that bugged me. Moreover, what bugged me is that it was really dull. I thought it was really dull. It does not skimp on character development, which is great. You really get to know the dynamic between the father and the mother and the daughter and the father and his father and all that all is made abundantly clear, sometimes overabundantly clear. You get a really great sense of place. This is like the Pacific Northwest. It feels like it's supposed to be the Pacific Northwest. It might be the East Coast. I don't really recall if they say, but it feels like it's Oregon somewhere. And there is a sense of dread. You know, the house is being attacked by a werewolf, and you don't know which window it's going to come crashing through. And when you realize that the father has been infected, and this is in the trailers, I'm sorry if I spoiled that. I try to be as aggressively spoiler-free as possible. The father begins to turn into the werewolf, and it's just, aspects of it are interesting. They do a thing where they show you sort of what he sees and how he's perceiving the world as his brain is kind of changing. But the whole thing is really slow. It's really sluggish. Some of the choices people make are just stupid and don't make any sense. I'm not going to get into what they are because I'm not going to give anything away. But there's a moment where the family or the wife pretty willingly puts the family in peril just so that there can be a scene of the family being in peril, and the way they try to get out of peril is dumb and doesn't make any sense. There's a few things like that. The makeup on the werewolves that we see, I didn't really care for. I mean, I would have preferred more traditional Wolfman makeup. I think it's scarier, where it really looks like a wolf and a hairy beast. They do refer to, at the beginning of the film, they say there's a local legend that goes back as somebody having the face of the wolf, and maybe this isn't really a curse so much as it is a disease. You do see in this film, and I don't mind a film that rewrites legend as long as they kind of sort of indicate that that's what they're going to do. I mean, The Invisible Man was a totally different take on that. There have been movies that sort of really do vampirism in a different way. So they take lycanthropy in this and go in a different direction, where it's not really moon-based. It's not, oh, there's a full moon, I'm going to turn, but I'm cool during the day. In this film, it seems to indicate that you get infected by this thing and it turns you into this thing, and that's just what you are. You stay that way until the end of your days, whether it's daytime or nighttime. And that's an interesting twist on it, you know? I would have preferred it to be, I don't know. This feels a bit more touchy-feely art housey. Not really, but a little bit more than what I think a lot of people are expecting out of this. Some people are seeing this and loving it, so that it might just be me. But for me, it took far too long to get to the point of there being a werewolf. And then when we finally do see a werewolf or two, it's not that scary. It's not that interesting. They do something that I think of as big time hack screenwriting, where you say something early in the film and then you say it again later and it has all this weight because the situation's different now than it was at the beginning of the film. It's been done in a billion movies and it's just incredibly tiresome to me at this point. I wouldn't say I really aggressively disliked Wolfman. It's just, this is a film that while I was watching it, it got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. Just wrap this up. And it was, I'm not gonna say it was well before the end of the film, but it was at a point where before the film hit its climax, I really was kind of done with it. It's too bad. Maybe this will do well enough that there'll be a sequel that'll be better. I can always hope for that. Maybe they'll wait a little while and just do another stab at this like they've done with The Mummy, who knows? But for me, Leigh Whannell's Wolfman was, I probably would have been fine if I didn't go see it. So your mileage may vary. Let me know what you think. But for me, it wasn't as good as Werewolf of Washington, let's say. So a million werewolf movies you can watch if you want to see something better. Dog Soldiers, that's a really cool werewolf movie from not long ago. Ginger Snaps is good. Original Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman, not a thing wrong with that. A couple of those you can watch. All the Paul Naschy werewolf movies. I would probably recommend all of those over this, unless you just want to see a new werewolf movie, in which case you got Wolfman.